At the time of this recording, I'm a 26-year-old professional guitar player. If I could go back and tell myself these ways of making money as a musician, I'd be a lot richer than I am today. I'm Jamie Ellis, and I'm a professional guitar player. I've spent the last few years touring internationally with named artists and working in London's West End on some prestigious musicals. I've been really lucky in my career, and now I'm here to share what I've learned with you guys so you can hopefully develop your own career as being a musician. Now, when I first started out, like most musicians, I relied heavily on live gigs as my main source of income. But unfortunately, in today's industry, that's not quite as sustainable as it used to be. Now, this really hit home during the COVID pandemic because the live industry just shut down, and that left me and thousands of others without work. And that's when I realized the importance of having multiple income streams to support myself as a musician. So here are my 5 ways of making money as a musician. So let's be real. Most of us picked up this thing because we wanted to be rock stars. And I even remember me as a kid wanting to be the next Slash on stage, performing to thousands and thousands of people, being cool with me, sunglasses and top hat. Now, the live sector, like most of the music industry, is heavily built on networking. And there's that famous phrase that your network is your net worth. And that is especially true in the music industry. Now, when I started out, I was studying at university. So I was really lucky to surround myself with like-minded people that also wanted to go out and be working musicians. And that was a great place to start, as I was joining everybody's bands and cutting my teeth as a guitar player in the local pubs and clubs. I was also searching through Facebook for forums and pages and posts of other musicians across the country that were looking for cover or deps for their shows, or were just generally posting that they need a guitar player for XYZ. Now, this is a great place to start out, as you can start sending your CV out and videos of you playing to multiple people really easily, and hopefully eventually start getting some return. You're going to get your name out there, and then people are going to start remembering you exist and start booking you for gigs. This is exactly how I started, and I quite quickly fell into the wedding and tribute scene, because that's sort of mainly what I've seen on those sort of Facebook forums, and that's what a lot of musicians still use today as their bread and butter gigging. Now, weddings and tributes are a great way to make money as a performing musician. They can pay anywhere from 200 to 300, if not more, per show, and they're really fun. You're gigging with your friends, you're seeing the country. If you're really lucky, you're sort of touring around sort of a little bit of the globe, and they're just great. The audience love them, the vibes are up, they're fun shows, and you get to play some of your favourite tunes to a live audience. So it's a fantastic way to get started in the live sector. So after a while of doing these sort of weddings and tributes, I wanted to level up and work more in musicals and theatre. So to do this, I reached out to as many theatre musicians as I could find. I would wait for a show to come and tour in my local town, and I'd find out who was on guitar. A great way of doing that is just go to the show's website, find the MD. Usually the other musicians are listed. If not, contact the show directly, send them an email, send them a letter, and just explain, hey, I'm a musician, I'm a guitar player, I'm starting out my career, I want to learn about the musical and the theatre world, can I come and sit in? Which is essentially just popping in for a visit, sitting in the orchestra pit with the other musicians and watching them play the show. And that's a great place to rub shoulders with true professional musicians, to ask them questions and to just learn about this scene. Because I found when I started sitting in, that there was a lot of etiquette and there was a lot of little skills needed to sustain yourself in that sector that weren't necessarily taught at university. So it's a great education and it's a great networking tool. And eventually, the more I did this and the more I showed my face and shown that I was keen to get into this space, people eventually started to ask me to cover them on some of these shows. It was just a show here, and eventually it sort of builds up to gaining your own chair on one of these musicals, which becomes a great 9-to-5 job as a working, performing musician. But here's the thing, working in the live sector isn't always an upwards trajectory. It's not as easy as working in a covers band, moving on to theatre, moving on to arenas, and then that's the sole gigs that you do. it just doesn't work like that. And me and I know countless others have one day played an arena and the next you're playing in a pub. It's kind of just the way it works. So you have to really keep your ego in check and stay humble. And that is difficult. And it's a whole other conversation that we'll come to some other time. But in essence, it's important, especially when you're starting out, to say yes to everything. Because you never know when a gig's going to get cancelled or things are going to dry up. And you really need to rely on all of that cash you've built up to keep you afloat for a little while. So say yes to everything, stay humble, and just take every gig that comes your way. Now, my second method for making money as a musician is through teaching. Now, I know before you start going, it's not for me, I know teaching isn't for everybody, and I even have my ups and downs with it. It's like what we talked about in the live thing. It could be a hard ego thing where you're playing an arena one day, to the next day you're teaching Jimmy. But it's a fantastic, stable income for a musician, and it really does plug those gaps between shows. Now, you can either teach privately, one-to-one, you can teach in schools, or you can teach online. Either way, it's a nice, stable moneymaker that you can use to pay your bills when the shows aren't necessarily always coming in. If you're looking for students, try local forums online. I'm sure there's a group of mums somewhere that are going, hey, I need a guitar player for my son. Great, jump on that. Or there's, coffee shops, put flyers up in coffee shops and just ask around your general network. Hey, does anybody I know want to learn guitar? It's a great starting place. And then you can also reach out to agents and schools and be like, hey, I'm a guitar player. I've got this much experience, blah, blah, blah. I'm looking to teach guitar. Can I come work with you? Or can you represent me and find me students? And that's a great, nice, easy way to have all the students come to you instead, and then hopefully supply you with a more stable income. My third way of making money as a musician is through sync licensing. Now, this is becoming more popular, especially with the rise of content creation, as everybody needs music for their project, whether that's film, TV, adverts, or just generally social media. And in fact, I recently had a sync myself with Apple TV, where they bought one of my songs to use in their latest series. It's a fantastic way to monetize your music and sort of supply you with some sort of income when you're not gigging or you're not teaching. Sync licensing, in its essence, is someone paying you to use your music in their project. Now, there's usually a music supervisor, and they will be responsible for placing all the music in a project. So let's say Netflix have got a latest series, and they will have a music supervisor, and their job is to find all of the music, the background music, the songs, the theme tune, everything to go into this series. Now, what they'll do is they'll reach out to music libraries and sync agents and say, hey, I've got this project. Here's my brief. I need a song that fits XYZ criteria. Can you show me some examples? And the library or the sync agent will say, sure, here's 10 songs that we think would match this brief. Your job is to get your music represented by these sync agents so that your music is one of those 10 examples. And then hopefully the supervisor likes your song and in return pays you to use it in the series. Now, with the rise of home studios, it's becoming quite an oversaturated market. And the competition is quite high too, as you've got Grammy award winning producers also creating music for sync. So it's really important that your music is of high quality and is produced really, really well so you can compete against these other professionals. But in essence, you need 10 to 12 songs to create a full album. And then once you've got them well produced, and hopefully if there's singing on top, you've got instrumental versions as well as your version with singing, you can submit these to sync agents and library music stations to ask for representation. Now, this leads me really nicely onto method 4 of making money, and that's through royalties. Now, this is really important if you're creating, like we said, original music. Now, royalties are paid out to you via royalty collection services like PRS, ASCAP, BMI, etc. You register your songs with these companies, and then they on behalf will monitor every time your song is streamed on streaming sites like Spotify, or it's used in films, etc. And then they will pay you a royalty, a dividend, each quarter as like an extra payment for your song being listened to. But streaming and royalties are a bit of a hot topic right now, because I'm sure you're aware, unless you've been living under a rock, that streaming royalties really don't pay much at all. In fact, what's the metric on my notes? Spotify pays 0.003 pence per stream. Now, I'll let you do the maths on that, on how many thousands of streams you need just to make a stable income. So I wouldn't recommend this as a main source of income, but it's a great supplement to sort of back things up whilst you're working in other areas. If you're making music, you might as well monetize absolutely every possible thing you can. So make sure your songs are signed up properly to these royalty collection services, and in return, collect what you're owed off the back. Now, my fifth and final method of making money as a musician is through content creation. Now, this is a new venture myself. I'm new to this. This is my first video on YouTube. So if you're getting use from this video and you found it helpful, please like and subscribe, because I'm trying to hit 1,000 subscribers so I can monetize this channel through AdSense. So please do support the channel if you can and you find this valuable, because I will be producing more videos like this, as well as guitar tutorials and sharing insider tips I've learned as my time as a professional musician. But anyway, creating content is fantastic, and I've got some friends that now do this full time because they've been able to create such an income from YouTube and from things like TikTok and Instagram. You can do gear reviews, you can share insights if you're a professional like me, you can teach your instrument, or you can even just film yourself playing covers, which is how I started out creating content, and post those on TikTok. And then in return, you can get paid per 1,000 views thanks to the AdSense and all those sorts of things. So it's a great way of creating money quite easily once you've built a fan base. And we're in the modern world now, everyone creates content. And if you're not already creating content to promote yourself as a musician, then you should start doing that, because it's important to getting your name out there, getting what you do out there, finding your tribe, finding your people, and letting people know what you're about. And thanks to these things, our smartphones, there really is no excuse. It's so easy now to create content. It doesn't have to be high professional grade. And even me making this, I'm sure I'm going to evolve and grow as I make more content to make this even better for you guys. So there you have it. There's my 5 ways of making money as a musician. I hope you found it helpful and a little bit insightful. And I hope it's opened your eyes to thinking, oh, I can do this. I can have a career from music. You just have to diversify. And that's the key thing here, diversifying and having multiple streams of income. None of this happens overnight. Of course, it takes time. But as you compound, as you build, as you make more music, as you get your name out there, more and more work is going to come your way, and it's just going to grow and grow and grow. And your career is just going to develop and flourish, and you're going to make more money as a musician. So take your time with it, develop it. Like I said, it doesn't happen overnight. But also, if you want to learn more about the guitar, then you should check out my course, Play Like a Pro, which I've popped a link to down below in the description. I've spent the last year or so building this, and it's a step-by-step self-guided course that goes right from the beginning of my first guitar lesson all the way through to how to develop a career and some really advanced things that I use myself and others use in the music industry. I've tested this course on my students and countless others, and they've all found it useful no matter what stage of their guitar journey they're at. So whether you're a complete beginner or you're an expert guitar player just looking to refine some skills and get some career knowledge, then the course really is for you. It's what I've built it for. So go check it out with the link below. But either way, I hope you found this useful. Until next time, keep playing, keep practicing, and good luck with your music career.